I took my alocasia from looking like this, a small insignificant church rat, a non-entity, to looking like this. Oh, Jesus. Girlies, look at the material. Eat her up. How many leaves do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 friggin' leaves. Is this not a Guinness World Record? And that's not even all. Every single alocasia I have in my care is absolutely showing off and absolutely doing her thing. But I didn't just come here to brag. I came here to show you the way. I want to teach you how to stop killing alocasias, how to grow your alocasias to be beautiful specimens. And this is coming from a notorious alocasia killer. I, just like you, have killed my fair share of alocasias and I've come here to slander them. But I've realized that the problem isn't them. The problem is us, you and I. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to reveal in this video is going to be groundbreaking, shocking information you've never heard before in your life. So what I want you to do is actually clutch your pearls, grab someone, grab something, and definitely grab a notepad. And let's get to the things I've been doing differently to ensure that every single alocasia in my care is absolutely thriving. Look at my baby. This first point is extremely important. If you do not take any other thing from this video, please, the first point I'm about to state, you should. And I want you to come a bit closer to me. Much closer, much closer. Stop playing with the roots of your alocasia plant. Stop playing with the roots of your alocasia. This plant does not like the roots meddled with. Oh my God, my Western girlies, my American girlies, this obsession with digging for combs is costing you your alocasias. Some of you just sit down and you're like, oh my God, let me go find some combs. And you start digging for combs, disturbing the roots of your alocasias. Stop doing that now. Alocasias do not like their roots disturbed. It's the one thing I have noticed. They do not like their roots disturbed under any circumstances. When I was reporting this young lady, and the same applies for all my alocasias, I handled her very delicately. Let me even see if I can do a demonstration for you guys to show you guys I mean business. And I want this alocasia root assault to stop. Very delicately, all I did was just... That is all. That is all you need to do. You don't have to start... No, they do not like it. The moment you start tampering with the roots of your alocasias, because you want to report her or because you want to dig for combs, they will quickly go into dormancy. You have induced dormancy in them and you've caused them to start declining. I have an interesting theory. So in this part of the world, we grow some species of alocasia for food and we actually consume the combs of the alocasia. So what farmers typically do is that when they want to harvest the alocasia, they dig them out and then they extract their combs. They then consume some of the combs and then store the remaining combs for the next planting season. So whenever you start digging for combs in your alocasias and disturbing the roots, you've just triggered dormancy. You've made it feel like, okay, I've achieved my purpose in the life of this human. She has harvested my combs, therefore I can go to sleep. That is what happens. Now, occasionally, like I just did here, when you bring out the plant, when you gently bring out the plant from its pot, you may spot a comb. You may just spot a comb chilling. You can then choose to gently extract it. I'm going to see if I can do it here. Just gently. As you can see, I have done so without disturbing the root system. Don't dig deeper. Just if you want to, if you're desperate for combs, just look at the combs you can see on the surface and don't dig or stress the plant any deeper. Please. Another thing I quickly realized is that alocasias are actually way more thirstier than we human beings actually can comprehend. And let me give you a simple demonstration of that. The soil of this plant on the surface is moist. I don't know if you can tell, but the soil of this plant on the surface is actually moist. In fact, I just recently watered her a few days ago. But I can already tell that this mama is actually thirstier and will need some more water. And do you know how I have come to learn when my alocasias are thirsty, especially this particular one? I love this alocasia because she's very responsive and she has taught me pretty much how to take care of alocasias. When this babe is thirsty, I start to notice that some of her leaves start to droop ever so slightly. And you can see that with the bottom leaves. Have you noticed that they've started to ever so slightly slope downwards? That is my cue that this plant actually needs to be watered. When she's fully watered and she's very hydrated and she's happy, her leaves tend to be a bit more upright. So I've quickly learned not to go by how moist the soil looks. The soil can look really moist to the human eye, but this babe is saying, I want water and I want it now. So I usually just go by the leaves. How droopy, especially the bottom leaves, how droopy do they look? Have they started to tilt down? Once I begin to observe that, I quickly top this babe up, and I'm actually going to do so after this video. Another thing I have come to accept with alocasias, and this is just a fact with them, alocasias will always have spider mites. But you can actually inhibit it and prevent it from getting into a full-blown infestation by doing one simple thing that I'm going to tell you. Showering your alocasia with water. Honestly, that's the most effective and easiest way to keep spider mites at bay with this plant. In fact, you need to incorporate it into your watering routine of this plant. So what I typically do is anytime I want to water this babe, I give her a thorough shower of all her leaves, both the front and the back. Showering will repel the spider mites and prevent them from spreading aggressively all over the leaves of your plant, and ensure that you have a spider mite free alocasia. So develop a routine where you shower these guys regularly and ensure that you keep them where you can easily reach for them to be showered. Because if these guys go for prolonged periods without being showered, babes, or exposed to rain, oh my dear Lord, the spider mites will honestly take over and frustrate you and frustrate the plant as well. Another thing I quickly learned, girlies, while taking care of these plants is that they need a lot of light. I was really shocked by the amount of light they need. I tried to grow these girlies indoors right next to my window, but I quickly observed that they were stretching rather aggressively. This is a high light plant. I don't know if this is true for all alocasias, but every single one I have in my care seems to like a lot of light. And by light, I mean very bright, indirect, I hate that term, but very bright indirect light. If you're growing these guys outdoors like I am, ensure that it's in a bright spot that is fully shaded. And if you're growing them indoors, ensure that it's in a bright spot. If you can get a grow light, please give these guys a grow light. This madam is currently growing outdoors, and even though she's growing outdoors underneath my shade net in a tropical country, because can you see? She's aggressively stretching towards even more light. So these are high light demanding plants, and they need as much unobstructed shade and light as possible. Please. Now let's talk about the soil I use for these girlies, and all I have to say as regards that, because I do not like to overcomplicate soil care. I believe that the substrate you use for your plant should be simple, affordable, and accessible. I don't use any fancy soil for this auntie. I just ensure that whatever soil I'm using is fast draining, one, and then moisture retentive, extremely important. If you've not already established, these guys love to stay moist. They do not like to dry out. Do not ever allow them dry out for prolonged periods of time. So you want a soil or a substrate that can retain moisture while actually being fast draining. Something as simple as cocoa coir will do the trick. Don't make your soil so chunky to the point whereby it cannot retain enough moisture. This plant is going to go downhill if that is the case. So ensure that you have it in a mix that is fast draining yet can retain moisture to a certain degree. In fact, a lot of people have found success when they move their alocasias to a semi-hydro setup, leca and pond and the rest, and that should tell tell you that this is a plant that loves to stay moist. It doesn't like to dry out. So I don't care whatever soil you use, as long as it is fast draining and moisture retentive, your alocasias will do great. I've seen alocasias in this part of the world grow in literal clay, mud, and they're doing fine. These guys are not picky about the type of soil you place them in. What matters is that it's fast draining and it's moisture retentive. Now this next one, I think I'm gonna need to reach for my African cane for this one, because some of you do need to be flogged to hammer this point in. When it comes to alocasias, please start cheap and stay small. The problem with we millennials is that we're always on a mission to collect every and anything and any plant. Not every plant has to be collected. Just because one alocasia of yours is thriving doesn't necessarily mean you have to keep buying alocasias. And before you know it, you have 900 of them. As we have established in this video, these guys are extremely high maintenance, and they're obviously for people who do not have a social life and have nothing to do with their life. So the last thing you want to do is to collect a lot of them. No, I just have 5 in my collection, and I do not hope to expand further, because honestly speaking, I may not be able to keep up with the care of these guys if I do. You do not have to collect a whole squad of them. Start cheap, okay? The main reason why I bought this girl is because she was ridiculously cheap. This is a very high stakes plant, and the last thing you want to do is buy one that is so expensive and then the next moment it starts going downhill from there. This is the plant that can literally just go downhill in a matter of days. So it is not wise to splurge on it. I don't think it's wise for anyone to be spending hundreds of dollars on an alocasia. Even $50 is a bit of a stretch. I bought this one for less than $5, and she surprised me and proved her worth. So start cheap. Start with the cheapest one. If you want to embark on this alocasia journey, start with the cheapest one. In fact, this is what I would strongly recommend, the Alocasia Frydek, because it is very reactive and will teach you how to pretty much take care of alocasias. Plus, it's also very fast growing. I don't know if you can see, but she's got herself a new leaf popping up. We almost didn't spotlight that just next to this big one. Can you see that? I don't want to bother her too much. But anyways, yes, she's a very fast growing plant, and she's very reactive, and she will teach you pretty much how to take care of other alocasias. So start small, start common, start cheap, and keep your collection small and manageable. Oh, Jesus. Oh my god, babes, while editing I realized I didn't tell you guys about humidity and fertilizer. So let's start with the fertilization aspect of this plant. And to be honest, I don't really fertilize as frequently, because remember, my soil is made up of compost and manure, so it's really high in organic matter and nutrients. So I really don't supplement it for that. Maybe just occasionally. I'm honestly just fertilizing for the purpose of this video. But I have heard through the grapevine that this is a plant that requires a lot of nutrients. It's a heavy feeder, so needless to say, if your potting mix is mostly condiments, you need to supplement it regularly with fertilizing, especially with each watering. That should be ideal. Let's move over to the humidity aspect, which is actually very important. As you can see, darlings, where I currently have these girlies growing is extremely humid. I live in a tropical nation, and sometimes I do take the humidity here for granted. I forget that other parts of the world, the girlies in Arizona, you live in areas that are very, very dry. The humidity here from our analog hygrometer is a whooping 85%. Oh my goodness. But to be fair, babes, it's not typically always high all year round. This is the rainy season. In fact, it just finished raining while I took this reading, which is why the humidity is astronomically high. But I will admit, honestly, my alocasias tend to look better during the rainy season when the humidity is high. So high humidity will make these girlies happy. And also, lastly, darlings, this is a bonus tip for you. Please, we've talked about this extensively on this channel, but I want to reiterate it again. Please treat certain plants as cut flowers. Buy them without the intention for them to last very long. Just buy them and allow them surprise you. That was pretty much what I did with this girl. I bought her cheap, okay, like I said earlier, and I just figured, okay, she was probably going to spend maybe 1 month or 2 months max in my care, because you know, alocasias, they tend to go downhill. I made peace with that. And babe, she surprised me and proved me right. And I was also keen to observe and respond to her care. So go out there, that difficult, finicky plant, give it another go, and then just approach it as a cut flower. Every plant doesn't need to be a heirloom specimen, okay, that you pass down to your generations. And then let it surprise you if it lasts for an extended period of time. Remember, we're in this hobby for fun and to appreciate it, and it's really not that deep. All plants don't have to last indefinitely in our care. I believe if you approach certain genuses with that attitude, you won't be so quick to demonize them, and they might even end up surprising you like this one has done in my case. Alright, darlings, we've come to the end of this video, and I know it was quite passionate and the African came out from time to time. I do hope you found it useful. I hope you found it impactful. Please like, share, subscribe if you did, and also check out my YouTube membership for more of my shenanigans plus bonus and exclusive content. I hope to see some of you there. Until then, darlings, we the cool girlies of society will see you in the next video. Say bye.